Hey guys, good morning. Day two of being laid off and turning on Zoom and turning this into a full-time reselling business. Yesterday was our first full day of running that full-time business. It's been a setting things up, making sure they work, getting my organization, still working on getting those bins transferred into the boxes on there. So numbers yesterday weren't too bad on there. On it, so I sold 100, or I was able to list and get up to be 118 physical media copies, mostly DVDs, some CDs in there on that side, which was great on there. The store value that was put into it roughly is about $416.20 on that side. So I'm adding value into my store. Now, there's a lot of different ideas about this. You know, a lot of people say, well, are you really adding value when you add a $4.50 DVD? Yeah, it has value. Might not be a big value. It might not be, that $50 DVD that I would love to find and always have available and always be able to probably love. Of course, it's not. It's a DVD, most likely a children's movie of some kind on there. So it is what it is. But all that 118 items added up to be $416.20 on there. That's on my site, ready to be bought by someone that's looking for it on there. Now, yesterday being the first day of the month, of course, my store fees hit. I have 3 stores. Remember, I have Dixie Flipper, Dixie Post, and Dixie Cards. So all 3 of those stores subscription fees hit. The Dixie Post and Dixie Cards were like $21. The Dixie Flipper was like $69 something. So I figured, looking at everything, my store fees, include the fees for the day for sales and that, was $148.96. Now, of course, I don't have that in my account starting the first of the month because I just got a payout and everything hit. So I'm actually negative on that. I did have a good sale though on there. I sold a box set of Shirley Temple 12-pack DVD set, classic movie collector item. Here, I can show you what that is. Maybe give me one moment. My delivery from Amazon came. That's nice. There, I'm sure you guys really wanted to know about that, right? So, what is that? Okay. Am I on? So you see, so it's that. It's basically a box set of 12 of our movies on there. Ooh, I had a counter offer come in. Nice. So guys, here is, I got a counter offer for a DVD for $16.79. They're offering $12.43 plus shipping on it, which is $7.99. So I'm gonna accept that offer. I'm gonna take it, guys. Here, let me show you what it is. Black Fox Trilogy. So that is what just came in. So perfect. So yeah, so I sold the Shirley Temple one for $18 plus the shipping of $7.99 on there. With that sale and then the fees that were coming out, my account is now my account is negative. I do have some money that I'll pay the balance off and then get going. But right now we're in the negative $122.97 just because it's the first of the month and that's when all the fees and that all come out onto it. So, like I said, we're going to be niching down into physical media, DVD, CDs, cassette tapes, bricks, whatever on there. So that's all right. So to be honest, how am I going to do this? Like I said, I'm not looking for the $50 or $60 or $100 or $200 DVD or CD. Now, if I run across those, great. I will more happy sell those things like anything else. I'm looking for volume. I am buying in volume, so therefore I gotta take everything, including the high and the low. So how am I going to deal with the low? Because normally the low value stuff is what doesn't sell as quickly as the high. Well, it's very simple. I have a strategy in place, right? Part of my strategy is my shipping. Now, we all know shipping has gone big. The cost, heck, you send a DVD I'm in St. George, south end of Utah, to send it up to Ogden, the north end of Utah, it's going to cost me close to $6. How do you do that when that DVD is only $4.50? You know, part of it is the general public just has to start understanding things are going to cost more. Not only for, especially if they're buying from small resellers like us, but also when they buy from Amazon or Walmart, things will generally start to cost more, because yes, those companies are big and they can take the hit for a little bit, but eventually they're going to have to raise their prices to cover the cost of shipping and other fees and other costs that they have. Small sellers like myself, like you most likely, we have to do it sooner than them because we don't have the big pockets to absorb that hit. Either we're going to have to raise our costs on our items or charge more for shipping. So that's what I figured. I want to sell mass bulk items. I don't want someone to come in and buy one DVD. I want someone to come and buy 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 DVDs or CDs. You know, so how do I entice that by my buyer? Or not, yeah, by the buyer. Well, there's a couple ways. The way that I chose, this is what I think's worked, because I've seen it work in the past when I was doing it part-time. It worked that way. I have 2 shipping options for media. Since I'm mostly media, I have a $7.99 flat rate anywhere in the US, USPS ground shipping. You know, well, Mike, you can do it so cheaper with media mail. Exactly, I cared. But ground has a couple of advantages that media mail doesn't. Media mail, yes, it's a couple of dollars cheaper, but in the long run, there's no insurance on it. So if your DVD or CD or whatever gets lost in the mail, you're just out the money. They don't refund you. There's no insurance, nothing. USPS Ground Advantage has $100 of insurance already attached to it, which quite honestly suits me just fine. Second of all, the fastness, meaning email is slow shipping. How the post office works is they go and they sort things by what class of shipping they got paid. First class, priority, express, ground, and then medium mail is at the very bottom. Meaning, when they're loading up that truck, if they don't have room for the medium mail, guess what? That medium mail gets to sit for the next day for the next truck. That to me, I know when I buy things online, I am sacrificing my time to go to the store, pick it up and get it then, to saving a little bit of money, maybe finding something that I haven't been able to find at the store. You know, I'm sacrificing that instant gratification for the chance to get what I want, and understanding that it's going to take some time to get to me. So with USPS Ground, is a faster delivery time for the customers, and I think that adds value to it. Now my second option for that is that encourage multi-buyers, people that buy 2, 3, 4 DVDs, is I have a flat rate shipping of $6.99 for when you buy 2 or more. So meaning if you buy 1 DVD, it's going to cost you $7.99. If you buy 10, the entire order is $6.99. I look at it this way: Ground has increments of their weight. A DVD, a CD isn't going to cost too much more to add to it. And yes, I've had orders where they've bought 10 CDs and I only charged $6.99 and the shipping cost me $8. But that order was $50 or $60, you know, on there. So that's my hurt. That's why I'm trying to draw in, trying to get people to buy more by saying, hey, I will ship that cheaper and take the hit on it a couple of dollars if I can. So that's my hurt. That's what I'm trying to do on my side on there. So like I said, just go over my numbers really quick. I'll pull up. So I use everything. I use my reseller Genie. I don't have a code for you guys, but they are great. They help you track everything, especially if you have multi-stores and multi-platforms. They do Mercari, Poshmark, eBay. What other stores do they have? Whatnot. They do Whatnot as well. But they have a bunch of stores that they can use, that they can help you track your spending, your sales, Nice thing is also it tracks my spending. Like, I have my card that I use for everything for my business, and it tracks when I buy. I just bought some from Amazon. I'll show you what it is. Come on. So it's these little plastic bags. I don't know if you can see them. They're clear. I put DVDs and CDs in there, and then I put the numbers on them so that I can organize them on there. So I just bought 1,000 of those and sell on eBay, which I do try to buy most of my supplies off of eBay if I can. But this one was just a better deal. It saved me $10 doing it through Amazon. But I just bought some of that from Amazon. This will pull that from my OnePay card that I use for everything and put it into it. So my numbers that I'm actually giving you are numbers that are from my expenses, what I've actually made. So these are the raw numbers for the week, or for yesterday. $25.99. That's the DVD set that sold. My expenses were $148.96. That's my store subscriptions, my fees, what I just bought from Amazon, and all that, on there. So my profit is a negative 100, which is normal for me. Normally I start in a hole because of those fees and stuff. And my profit, of course, is a negative $473.14% down. By the end of the week or beginning next week, I should have that up, either breaking even or higher, a little bit higher on that. So use it. Also, I couldn't do 118 pieces of media yesterday without using an AI lister. I strongly suggest you pick one. There are a couple. I personally use two. I use List Easier as my main one because I like the system that puts out, and it's very easy to use. They also have things like, I use their Flex listing, which is they have a price easier option there where you just click it and it looks through eBay to give you the medium price of whatever you're looking at. Now sometimes you do have to be a little careful with that because depending on the sample size, it can give you some weird numbers. But I would say if it's giving you pulling a sample size of 50 or more, that's pretty much a solid number that you can work from on there. The other one that I use, because it lists easier, they do charge per listing. So I pay $73 for 1,000 listings to run through their AI, which equals out to be, I think it's like 7 cents a listing or whatever, and it renews monthly. But if I run through those $1,000, I normally go over to TreeCat. Now TreeCat is a cross-listing platform as well. So you can cross-list from eBay to Mercari, eBay to Potch, eBay to whatnot, or you can even do it through to Amazon, I believe, as well. But they also have an AI lister as well. So I can use that as my backup. How their system works is you don't pay, say I run a listing through their AI, I don't pay on that until that listing sells on their side. So I don't really use it for the cross listing. I more use it for the AI lister when I need it, and to just keep a good inventory of what's going on. We all know how eBay sometimes likes to delete listings. Well, this way you can resync it, re-upload it to eBay, and it's there again, and you don't have to retake pictures or add data or information to it on there. So that's always a nice thing on it. So I think I covered everything. Let me just see my last page. Yeah, that's about normal. Okay, yeah. So to wrap things up, 118 items listed yesterday. I'm going to try to beat that today. One DVD sold yesterday for $18. I've already met that today with the one that came in this morning for $12. My strategy is to sell volume and to buy in volume. I am going to be using USPS Ground. I'm going to be using those two different shipping prices, $7.99 for one, $6.99 for if you buy more than two or more on that side. And I hope to see a lot more bulk orders coming from that side of things. Other than that, if you have questions, if you have comments, I would love to hear them. Like I said, I'm new to doing it full time, but I have done this part-time for 5 years, so I do know a little bit. It is different than doing part-time, but I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe if you have something to say it, and you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later. See you tomorrow. Bye.